Golden State Warriors dynasty. Because from the 2014-2015 season to the 2023-2024 NBA season, which is approximately 9-10 seasons long, the Golden State Warriors have essentially ran the NBA. And there's been a lot of debate, in sports when it comes to obviously, the dynasties. We had the Patriots dynasty, then we went right into the Kansas City dynasty in the NFL. We had the mini Giants dynasty in baseball where they won 3 out of 5 World Series championships. And we've sort of ever since been in the Houston Astros dynasty where they have made, 7 straight ALCS appearances, multiple World Series appearances, obviously. But for the Golden State Warriors, and when you take a look at the NBA in particular, when it comes to dynasties, ever since the 2000s, I would say, ever since the Michael Jordan Bulls sort of left, we immediately had the birth of the San Antonio Spurs dynasty, which of course first had Tim Duncan, David Robinson, then eventually transitioned into Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. At the same time, we had the Kobe Shaq Los Angeles Lakers dynasty that, of course, from 2000 to 2004, they essentially had made it to 4 NBA finals, won 3 championships, along with that three-peat. And then, as I mentioned, we had that Spurs dynasty where they won the title in 99. They won the title in 03. They won the title in 05. They won the title in 07. Then we had sort of a mini Laker dynasty where they obviously, went to 3 NBA finals in a row, won the 2 straight, 2009, 2010. Then we had sort of the mini Miami Heat dynasty with LeBron, though I sort of consider it one LeBron dynasty, not necessarily the Miami dynasty, where of course they went to 4 straight championships. Then he goes to Cleveland, they go to 4 straight championships. But during the LeBron 4 years in Cleveland and then afterwards for the last 8 years, the Golden State Warriors have essentially ran the league. Of course, they have 4 championships out of it: the 2014, 2015, the 2016, 2017. They go back to back 2017, 2018, and then, of course, 2021, 2022. And the thing that made this Golden State dynasty unique, in my opinion, is it was the first real dynasty in the NBA to be based off shooting. And, Steph Curry obviously came out of Davidson, and he sort of came out of nowhere. Now, Mark Jackson was grooming these guys: Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and of course, Bob Myers, the architect of the dynasty, that Golden State brass essentially had to make a decision between Klay Thompson and Monte Ellis before Steve Kerr even got there. Which, if you think about it, hindsight is 2020. If they make the wrong decision, does this dynasty even happen? But the Golden State Warriors dynasty was coming into a league where shooting had become obviously more relevant. Back to the basket centers were getting taken away from the game, mostly because of Curry. We had never seen anybody shoot the way Steph Curry has. And you can make the argument that Steph, even more so than LeBron, even more so than Michael, even more so than Magic, even more so than Larry, really brought in a new game of basketball and a new era and new fans of the game because of the way he can shoot. Look no further than what Caitlin Clark has done at Iowa and now will obviously do with the Indiana Fever. You can make the argument that the Golden State Warriors do not become a dynasty if Steph Curry is not relevant on the map. Does Caitlin Clark even happen? Does everybody fall in love with analytics and the 3 point shot because everybody now tries to emulate Steph? And so when this dynasty first started, there were a lot of questions around it. There was a lot of questions around if a jump shooting team could win a championship. And then obviously they go on and do it. A lot of people said it was because LeBron and Kyrie got hurt, or excuse me, Kevin Love and Kyrie got hurt, and LeBron was out there with the likes of Matthew Dellavedova, J.R. Smith, Amon Shumpert, Tristan Thompson. You guys know I'm from the land. That's my hometown team. For 4 straight years, I couldn't stand this Golden State Warriors team, specifically when they had Kevin Durant for those 2 championships that they went back to back. But I had said as this Golden State dynasty sort of evolves, and you take a look at the 2019 championship where it was sort of the reverse of the 2015 championship, where I thought Golden State would have beat Toronto if they did not get injured. Durant, Klay Thompson go down. It was sort of Steph Curry in the box and one with Nick Nurse and that great Pascal Siakam, Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry Toronto team ended up beating Golden State, to their credit, getting that championship. Though again, you can make an argument that's a championship Golden State could have had. You could have made an argument, take away the 2015 championship. You can make the argument that Kevin Durant is the difference between the Cavs having a dynasty and Golden State having a dynasty. And I completely understand all those valid points. But what the Warriors have done, I think specifically in the last 2, 3 years, and starting with the championship they won in 2022 against the Boston Celtics, when game four, when they were down 2-1 in that series in the TD Garden, Steph Curry comes out, makes an incredible game out of it. I believe he scores 50 points, puts the team on his back, flips that series on its head, and for the first time in Curry's career, validates himself as, of course, finals MVP. And we all knew that even though Kevin Durant was the best player in that, 3, 4 year run he was with Golden State, Steph was the glue that kept the team together. Steph is the face of the dynasty. But I think Draymond Green, who in game seven, of course, of the 2016 finals had the game of his life, and one of the reasons why that game was so close. I always thought, and I've defended Draymond now for the past few years. And as I said, the rivalry with Golden State that my Cavaliers had with the Warriors may have influenced my opinion on this team. Because every time you go to battle, with a team, and it's special because before the Cavs Warriors series, we had never seen two teams go head to head for three straight finals, let alone four. And so when you go to a battle with a team for 4 straight years and you are the underdog constantly for 4 straight years, you don't want anybody to beat the Warriors. I never wanted, a Houston Rockets team or the OKC team in 2016. I never wanted any of those teams to knock off Golden State. What I had wanted was for my Cleveland Cavaliers to do it themselves. And the reason is because there is a sense of an accomplishment there, right? That nobody can beat them but us, that our two teams run the league. And after you go through the battles with them and you see the transformation that they have had, from guys like Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala and Andrew Bogut to this current era, which of course involved, James Wiseman, Moody, Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole was on the championship team, of course, and then got knocked out by Draymond Green. You gain a certain respect for a team for doing it as long as they have because you could not do it. And I think Draymond, again, he's the heart and soul of the team. Well, Steph is the leader, Steph is the face of the franchise. Without Draymond Green, who may be the most valuable, 4 point a game player in the history of the NBA, which sounds hyperbole, but it's not. And the reason it's not is because he does so many little things well. And when you win championships, I always say it's 90% skill, 10% luck, and Draymond just being the physical presence, doing all the dirty work, getting all the rebounds, getting the physical presence again. Well, Steph and Clay, when they were hot, and especially Clay Thompson, there were some nights where you would take Clay over Steph, especially if you guys remember the Game 6 2016 Oklahoma City game where they were down 3-2 and struggling, and Clay Thompson hit, I believe, 11 3-pointers and brought Golden State, allowing them to come back 3-1 against the Thunder. Um, so there's just a lot of moments. I think the Warriors, when they were very cocky in the beginning, I think they've sort of become a humble dynasty. I don't think, and this is often how dynasties ended. We saw the way the New England dynasty ended with Brady and Belichick wanting to take credit for the other's success. I think that, we saw the way the Michael Jordan dynasty ended. We saw the way that Shaq Kobe Lakers dynasty ended. We saw LeBron obviously leave Miami. So dynasties usually end ugly and tragic with somebody getting traded or leaving. which could be the case here with Clay. Though I think that Steph, Clay, and Draymond want to stay together. And I think the best thing about this dynasty is not only do they draw ratings to the league, but there's no ego here. Steve Kerr came out of broadcasting. Nobody remembers seemingly that he was in TNT working with Marv Albert and Kevin Harlan and that crew before getting this job. And Mark Jackson deserves a lot of credit for grooming Steph Curry and Draymond, but Steve Kerr also deserves a lot of credit, I believe, for navigating this ship. Because when you have a ton of personalities, especially when you're dealing with alphas like Draymond and Steph, and you're trying to work in some young guys. It's a very hard job to do. And I always thought strategically, especially when Durant was on there, being able to get in Durant's ear and, telling him things that Michael Jordan would do to fire him up. I never thought Steve Kerr got the credit he deserved. So, in a way, I know my Cleveland fans are going to diss me for this, but I don't think Golden State is a dislikable dynasty. I think they've aged well over the years, and they're going to be the rare dynasty that, yes, all dynasties get old and they falter out. But again, usually it's ugly, right? The main piece gets traded or leaves, and the rest of the organization falls apart. Like, I think even if Clay leaves, this team is still viable. If they were in the East, they may be a top four seed in the East. It's just the West this year. Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Sacramento, the Lakers, Clippers, Mavericks, Nuggets, you name them. The West is loaded. And Memphis next year with Ja Morant healthy will be better. And Houston with Jalen Green and Sengun and Thompson and the young cats they have are going to be better. And San Antonio with Victor Wembanyama is coming down the pipe. And Scoot Henderson, who played better, during the last portion of the year with Portland. Could they be back in the mix in a year or two? So the West is insane. It's a hard conference, and the NBA has never been more balanced than ever. This was not the case 4 or 5 years ago. But Golden State did not age and just drop like usual dynasties do. Golden State was a trajectory that just aged. They got older, they got worse over time, and obviously some injuries was the cause of it. But I thought that 22 championship, where they essentially gave themselves another 2 to 3 year run, really put this dynasty in historical perspective because they lasted longer than Michael Jordan's Bulls, who of course won 6 championships, but they were separated 3 and 3 because Michael had to leave for 2 years. They lasted way longer than Shaq and Kobe. Now, again, the Spurs, that dynasty lasted for, 15 years, but it was sort of 2 iterations of the dynasty, and they went from '07, to 2013 without being in the NBA Finals. Where the Warriors have had sort of one iteration of the Warriors core. Obviously, there were changes in the bench, but the core has been there this whole time, and especially in the NBA where player movement is so prominent. It's a credit to them, it's a credit to this organization. And I do think the Golden State Warriors dynasty will go down as one of the best of all time. Like that clip from the Brand Sports Podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand Sports Podcast right here on YouTube.